mud on the floor. Desperate people trying to get through the door, although the room's already crowded. But I'll keep shining over you all, and with your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. Zeros, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. And keep trying again. I'll keep shining over you all, with your wings entwining. You better face the fall. Zero, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. Are you okay? I'm not that sure. Forever young, or am I faking? On the tip of my tongue, there's a sarcasm waiting for you. I'm willing to trade my soul for a bit of your charm. There's no way I fade into oblivion, 'cause I'll keep shining over you all, and if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our second race of the schedule for the trucks out here tonight. We are at Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, and we're getting set to run for 2 heats and a main event here tonight at Canadian Tire. My name is Anthony Curry. Alongside of me is Matthew Rodriguez. And last time out, we had quite a bit of battles going on the racetrack. We were at a dirt circuit with a lot of ramps and such. Now tonight, we are not there again at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park for tonight's race, and it's a Mosport. We're at Mosport, and we're green already. We have standing starts here in this series, and we're already out and running. Garrett Gleason will get the jump on everybody else. The way these work is 5 laps each, and we will invert the top 3 for the main event. Only 2 heats as opposed to 3 heats that we had last time out, and already Gleason is getting out in front. Well, Matt, we know Mosport. We love this track, but we get to see these trucks get to race it on for the first time. I've seen them race on this track. These trucks not designed for this kind of circuit. What do you think we're going to see in the next 5 laps?
I mean, here's the thing. We've seen Indy cars here where they have tons of grip, and we're just dealing with the bumps. And we've seen the NASCAR Truck Series here, and we see they struggle for grip so much. Well, these are really 2 of those series pounded together, and all of their problems kind of turned up to 11, where these things have no grip and have no power. But man, are very entertaining around this track.
Absolutely, they are. The drivers running around in the DRP Stadium Truck Series have already put on quite a bit of a show for us the last time out, which was at Bark River tonight at Canadian Tire. We're seeing another good bit of battle going on the racetrack as Connor Perez has gotten in front and will stay out in front. Behind him, you've got James Donahue, who is trying to catch up, and Josh Edmondson, who won everything that he was a part of the last time out. He won his heat, he won the B main, and then he went on to win the A main. So perhaps tonight he's looking for lightning to strike twice, running in third place. A very different type of circuit, though. He was able to get around the ramps, tabletops, the dips as well as he could, and he masterclassed the rest of the field. Tonight, he doesn't have all that. He's got a road surface that's relatively flat, lots of elevation change, but nothing like we saw last time out at Bark River.
Realistically, I see this turn, this huge left-hander here being a huge problem later on in the race of guys who really just want to maximize that corner, but probably just overrun it all the way into the grass.
Very easy to do going down the hill, and we've seen a number of cars in the Marietta series that have overshot that turn. I believe it's turn 2.
Now,
and
look at Tristan Maher here. Maher, I don't believe we got a chance to mention him last week, but Maher is our Season 3 champion. And he's finally making his return back to the TNR Stadium Truck Series. So he's obviously looking to kind of start off the season with a bang here tonight.
Absolutely, he is trying to get up and get going the right direction. Tristan Maher is, and he right now running
the bumper of James Donahue.
Right down the back straightaway, trying to make the pass done. He's gotten alongside, trying to ram it down. Can he make the pass done? It's a right hand going through, and he's plenty of runoff, but you don't want to use it. There are track limits. There's contact, but he gets it through.
I don't know if James was all that pleased about the bumper being put to him by Tristan Maher, but he decided to at least pay it back a little bit more.
Absolutely trying to catch back up is Donahue, but Maher got around, and Edmondson is caught up to Paris, who is now trying to keep the lead of the race. Lap 3 out of 5. These laps will go by quick, about 1 minute and 34 seconds around this track, so not the fastest laps we've seen at this track, but you gotta admit that these drivers, they're going pretty much full throttle the entire time, only letting off the gas a couple of times, but definitely something that we'll have to keep an eye on is if they run off the track as we take through Quebec Corner now. Everyone single filing out towards the run into Moss. Now, this is one of the tracks on the schedule that is highlighted for these guys to be kind of one of the easier tracks that they'll have to take on, because the next few tracks we have are Bristol at the Oval, and then we go to the Charlotte Road Course, and then Crandon, which is another track similar to Bark River, and then Detroit Belle Isle will obviously be a test of these guys' fortitude, because I don't believe that we're honoring track limits at that particular course. Then we go to the Iowa Road Course, and then Homestead, Miami for the season finale. So a lot of tracks for these guys to try and make some moves at, and this one is a fan favorite amongst these drivers.
I know a lot of these drivers have Bristol circled next week, really just out of the familiarity of the track, and even though it is the dirt format, realistically, Bristol is Bristol, and a lot of these drivers know how to run it. We ran it last season in Season 3 as the finale, where, again, Maher ended up taking the championship.
And he'll look to eye that track next week as a potential place to get his season kick-started. He hasn't made the first race of the season, but showing some pace in the early bit of the... actually, he did make his first race of the season last season. So he competed very well. Huh?
Yes, he raced last season. He won the championship.
I mean, last. Yeah. English is not my first language. As Edmondson goes wide, almost runs off the track, and that's going to open the door for Maher. But Maher actually raced last week at Bark River, so looking to continue his success as he's gotten around Josh Edmondson, who basically put a masterclass on the field again. As we stated previously, the sun is coming out, which is something that these drivers hadn't dealt with all weekend long, not in practice, not in qualifying, so it was going to heat the track up.
I am noticing that Maher's times keep getting better as we continue going on further in laps, and both Connor and Josh's times are falling off a little bit as we continue on. So is it just saving tires, or?
It might be saving his tires a bit more than the guys in front of him, as, the lap times are staggering right now, running completely different sets of laps. The last lap by, it was almost a full second. In fact, just about a full second faster than the leader was Maher to Paris. But now we've got...
My apologies. I have been informed that it actually is Bristol asphalt. Bristol asphalt next week. That is going to be that's going to be some chaos there.
That's we might see some of these guys try to run the apron, not going to lie.
And then just remember that these fields, all for the heats, all the positions get inverted, not just the top 3.
Indeed. So right now, looking at the rear of the field, the guy that would be starting first place once the field is inverted would be Garrett Gleason. So
he's not having that great a day back here. He's not having
a very good time, no.
He's had better days. But that isn't going to stop Tristan Maher for trying to go after Connor here, and he may have a chance to do it.
There are some valuable points on the line for these drivers if they do get first, second, and third place. In fact, if the top 6 will all get points in succession, first place will be at 6, and then so on and so forth. So some bonus points on the line, and if you're Josh Edmondson, you got the maximum amount of points that you could get in a weekend at that event, taking his heat, the B main and A main. So I walked out with quite a few points tonight. So far, only bettering a third place as we're on the final lap. Maher trying to run down Paris. I don't think he's got enough in the tank to do it, or he's got enough in the tank. I don't think he's got enough on the loud pedal to do it, though.
I think Connor got the better exit out of that little horseshoe there.
Have to see as we get to the S's. Can he get the braking zone right? Can he outbrake as he send it? He tries inside of the racetrack, but Paris is going to be in front.
He hit the brake to be a nice guy, not dump him, but man, I think that may have cost him any shot. He's still got one more corner here. He sends it.
Oh, sends it up through Weiss. He locks up, but he's going to miss out, and Connor Paris is going to get the first heat win.
That is easily, I'd be kind of wondering, hey, if it was for the race, if he would have lifted there in those last about 3-4 corners.
That was incredible action down to the line, and we're going to see that a lot throughout tonight. The final turn 10, we're going to see a lot of action happen in whites, but that one was just a taste of what we're going to see later on in the event as we'll get our second field of trucks getting set for our second heat. Again, standing start. Once the trucks get on the grid, we will set them out. And this heat will have Jason Shu, Bob Giaquinto, and Vincent Valvano will be starting
Anthony,
1, 2, and
I've
3.
got a very interesting conundrum for you.
Interesting.
So I have been informed that we cannot make it on gas in the A main. You will need one pit stop.
Well, it's going to be interesting for these drivers as the green flag is out. Jason Shu did not take the start. We are green. Giaquinto will get the lead of the race. Tellier will be second, and that is interesting news for these drivers to have to deal with as Valvano goes off the track. He's going to lose some positions now.
Now we're still kind of holding it here.
Whoa!
Oh, it looks like Mike may be sledding.
Contact between the two of them being Valvano and Tellier. That was some pretty big contact and almost sent them around, but this is good news for Giaquinto as he pulls
Mike's
out
still in the grass.
He's just trying to get back on. There's more grip out there anyway. Plenty of room out on these tracks. And this is something that these guys don't have to particularly worry about too much is they can get out on the grass and actually be able to make things work if they don't flip over.
Man, everyone had a little bit of a disagreement on one where to go in that corner. Bill Edwards wanted to chop it as much as he could. Venny wanted to give him as much room as possible, but no one was taking that middle line.
That's a real threat that these guys have to deal with. If they hit the curbing, they're going to go over. They hits the sausage curb on the way in and almost sends Edwards over, but he's going to get second. Stephen Cageman will get into third place. As we just kind of get into a lull. Now, this is something we saw earlier. Cageman tries to throw it up the inside, but can't quite get the pass done. Going through the S's. Can he do it in the whites? He might be trying to test the waters to see just how far he can throw it in.
Cageman, I don't know. I don't know if Vinny's the kind of person I'd throw it deep into a corner on and not expect him to top off your nose. Oh, he's pushing him down the front straightaway.
Oh, Edwards trying to hold it. Cageman pushing him into turn 1. Now, quick bit of info. You'll see that the pit lane entrance is actually before turn 10, and theoretically these trucks could take the curbing no problem. They could go over it. But that is technically a corner cut, so that's why you see drivers not trying to force that issue. There are corner cut rules again in this particular race, but however,
Now,
that's not going to stop them from
just look
throwing
at
it up
this
the
gap,
inside.
though. Giaquinto was gone on the first lap. You see Mike Teller getting loose in the back. He saves it.
Saved it.
And he has been flirting with a little bit of track limits there. But they have tracked down Giaquinto. Right now, Bill Edwards is on Giaquinto's bumper. If it continues on like this, he'll be battling by about the last turn.
Gonna have to find out down the Andretti straight. Can he get the run? He's got the better run going down. He does
he hits him.
have. He's just letting him know he's there. Gonna try and go to the outside. I don't know if that's the fastest way around this turn. Turn 8 is kind of an inside line corner, but he might be able to swing it out into the S's. It's a progressive gradient. Can he get it done? Throws it up the outside. Side by side.
Oh, we're going to touch. Oh, no, he didn't. And Bill Edwards takes
waiting
it.
for it, though.
Now he's going to send it back in this corner, though.
Doesn't quite have the run. Doesn't lock up. Now this is going to be good news for Cageman as he's got the inside of Giaquinto heading into turn 1. We could be seeing a battle for second place now. Edwards definitely the fastest out of Giaquinto and himself, but is Cageman the slower of the two? We're about to find out as Cageman makes the pass.
Yeah, Stephen Kegman definitely... driver, not a lot of luck. He almost overshoots that big left-hander. But looking back here through the field, looks like two guys that may struggle in this race has to be Mike Tellier and Vincent Venny. Really just how they're driving. I don't really think their driving style is perfectly suited to this track, or maybe they just don't have the individual corners down.
I've seen that in other disciplines that Tellier is able to really run around some of these tracks, but maybe it's the combination of the truck that they're in and the racetrack, as Giaquinto almost has a spin a la Bill Edwards, almost goes over on his roof, but keeps going. That's going to open the door for Tellier now. Tellier might be able to throw it up. Does he try to make contact going down the straight?
I could see Tellier sending it, just trying to see if it would work. I think this is really just an experimental time of, I mean, here's the thing, we're already this far back. We're already going to be up near the front of the pack anyway. Might as well just see what's going to work.
Now this, he's got to be careful it doesn't lock up.
Oh, he sent it.
It's perfect. A perfect job done. Giaquinto slides through turn 8. Through 9 and 10. Basically watching Formula Drift of these guys right now, and now they're getting spread out as Edwards, Kegeman, and Tellier going to be 1, 2, 3, and this is any indication of what we're going to see in the B and A main. I would be surprised if we don't see someone going off track and hitting the tire barriers, and with the fact that they can't make it...
Giaquinto kind of overshot that first corner.
No, he's not having a good way right now with the outside of the racetrack.
No. He overshot the big left-hander. Now, here's the thing. There comes to a certain point where you notice you're losing ground and your mindset kind of gets so entranced on chasing that fastest time or chasing the relative of, hey, the gap of the car in front of me is increasing so much. You just kind of take yourself out of that situation. I think that may be what's happening here.
It might have also used up some of his tire wear early on in the run. Now, these tires can last quite a long time, but these are not built for this kind of surface, so they might wear down a lot quicker. Certainly the grip level isn't there. Also, the fact that these do not have stiff suspensions at any sort, so
I mean,
sliding around
as honest,
Valvano.
if I had a stiff suspension here, it's going to be a bad day going over these
For
bumps.
these guys, yeah, no kidding. Just going down the back straightaway down Andretti, there's plenty of bumps to hit. I'm surprised that we still run Indy and the sports car series here. It's those prototypes, they'd be bouncing.
How do you think these bumps are just, after a while, they got hurt. And plus, if you hit one of these curbs at the right angle, man, you are flying.
Yeah, especially what we saw earlier in one of the slowest turns on the track that a truck almost went over. Imagine somebody hitting the rumble or the curb that separates the pit lane entrance from the actual racing surface. That could be some bad news.
Here's another thing that I kind of want you to get in your mind a little bit, where tire changes on these trucks take about 2 minutes, about a minute or 2 minutes. And really, you have to replace all 4 tires. I don't really think tire changes are an option here. So how many people do you really think may push it on this start, possibly worrying about their tires wearing them out on the surface? And how many do you think will just honestly just go balls to the walls and trying to see how far they can get up the field and not worry about tires?
If Giaquinto is a guinea pig for that metric. I would say not too well, the payoff, but we don't know why he's fallen back. But
Oh, look at Mike Tellier. He's trying to send it on to Kegman.
I thought that Tellier was down and out, but as soon as we say something, he's back in. Oh, he sends it up, tries to make contact. I think he did a little bit, but now Kegman's going to get the run out.
It looks like there's no contact, but I think he scared Steven enough where he got on the gas a little bit early and slid it through.
Well, these trucks can take a little bit of beating and banging, but not too much. You don't want to make the guy that's driving them angry, as Tellier gets a huge run in the wake. Oh, whoa! Contact between him and Kegman down the straightaway. That could have been bad.
Oh, they're going to meet in the middle again. Oh, looks like Kegman may oversend it. I'll give Mike Tellier. Tellier's going through the grass.
He can hold it. If he can hold it, he's going to swing back on the racetrack. I think that's pretty much legal. He's gotten back. He's not going to be able to get in the position, though. Bill Edwards will win Heat 2, and Kegman will just beat out Mike Tellier.
Ay, ay, ay.
If that's what we're going to see later on in the mains, then this is going to be one amazing set of races.
Just seeing all the guys go at it. I mean, you've got to imagine we had about a max of 6 cars in each heat. Just imagine having 12 all fighting for the same position.
It's going to be interesting to watch these guys. So Garrett Gleason finished last in his heat. He'll be starting P2, technically. Jason Shu never took the start, so more than likely he might not actually get onto the racetrack. We're still waiting for Kegman and Donahue to get on, and we'll get this 8-lap B main underway. Kegman's still waiting to grid up. It's going to be effectively Garrett Gleason, Bob Giaquinto, Trevor Teal, which I don't think we've mentioned once tonight, and Vince Valvano will be your top 4 with the...
I got something really interesting to share with you. Wind speed at the moment is 23 miles an hour at the southeast.
Oh no!
Garrett Gleason blew his engine.
Gleason blew the clutch to stack up on the front straightaway.
Oh, he stacked up both of our heat, or actually one of our heat winners.
He's gotten Paris involved, and Edmondson got stacked up. That's horrible for Gleason. I think he might have dropped the clutch a little bit too late.
Actually, I think he was just revving his engine that entire time, just trying to get ready for the start. He may have mistimed it. Did you see the 81 of James Donahue? He's going through the grass, but I really think Gleason may have just mistimed it.
Horrible, absolutely dreadful start for Garrett Gleason as he's going to go back.
Bob Giaquinto is in the grass.
It's gone off track, brings it back on. Valvano takes the lead, and here comes Teal around the outside, going down into, I believe this is 4. Up the racetrack, slowest part. Oh, almost a flip by Teal, and I think he has flipped. Or if he didn't flip, he was close to it, he stopped.
Yeah, I think Teal just wanted to let it all go. But I noticed 2 guys that are working their way up the field. Has to be Tristan Maher and Mike Tellier. They're slowly picking them off one by one, and they're trying to chase down Benson to 38.
He's trying to get up to Valvano. There's a train of cars between Maher, Tellier, Giaquinto, Edwards, and Kegman down the Andretti straight going into turn 8 through the S's. What can they do now? I'm interested to see if they use some of the grass, because we saw Tellier use it in the last section of the racetrack. He was able to make some progress. I wonder if they're going to do the same thing here, because I don't think that's technically illegal, even though it would be off track. You're technically not cutting the corner.
I really think Tellier used it just because he was about ready to wreck there. I mean, he had to do something. You see Bob Giaquinto still battling back on Tellier's outside here.
Put your foot in it, hope for the best is what Tellier's strategy was.
Yeah, Tellier's in that no lift gang here at the moment.
Right, I don't think he can afford to be in the lift gang right now. So, just trying to stay in 3rd place because he's got Edwards pounding him in the backside. Now this is kind of what we had the last heat, except reversed. And now Giaquinto. Oh, I thought he was gonna have a look up the inside, but he didn't.
Giaquinto almost got looked by Steven. He was really shoving around the inside there. I was afraid he was gonna bop him out of the way.
He's doing an exponentially good job of making his truck as wide as possible.
Oh my!
Parking the bus, as it were, up the inside. Though here comes Edwards. The bus wasn't parked enough.
Giaquinto's just drifting the corner. Oh no, he didn't flip at least. But
he's made contact.
But did collect Steven here.
Collect Kegman. Look out, Edmondson.
Edmondson's still on that kind of recovery path here.
He's had to take a trip back to the back, and he's currently right now on a program. But
And look at Tristan Maher sending it in on Venny.
this is great battling right now. The former champion versus Vincent Valvano, who has had a great number of runs, even in the opening stages.
Oh my
Up the inside. Oh, can he hold it down? I think he can. It's going to be a drag race down the line, although I think that Valvano's going to get the momentum into turn one. It will be Valvano. Bill Edwards and Mike Tellier are still in the battle for third place. This is fantastic battling.
If that was a drag race, I need to check my eyes. Venny was a foot, huge foot
no,
ahead.
he was ahead. Don't get me wrong. He was ahead.
Oh no, Venny's
Still.
he's overshot it just a little bit.
And he's lost the lead to Mayer now. That might make it so that Valvano has to play catch up, or does he use the front end of this truck to try and get the pass done? A persuasion tool, if you will, if he doesn't run off the track.
And really, there's two battles here on track. It's Tristan Maher and Venny, and then it also goes back to Bill and Tellier. And right now, Bill is kind of giving Mike just a run for his money here.
He's been able to get in front and not looked back so far through turn 5. It is the slowest corner here, and I'm surprised that not many people have tried to make more moves down through there. Again, it's the place that you'd think that they'd be able to make the moves. Well, that and turn 10 are both the two slowest corners on the tracks, but you'd think that they would try to do it. But we've seen a lot of moves set up going down the straightaway. As Maher's pulling out, I don't think that there's going to be enough time for Valvano to catch. Oh, there's plenty of time. I don't know if they'll be able to catch. A different story between Edwards and Tellier is Edwards right against him, but not close enough to make the lunge this time.
And just keeping a little bit of track on Josh Edmondson, he's about 5 seconds back of Mike Tellier. So he's effectively out of his battle.
Unless he has a almighty run, or if these top four have a meeting of the minds at some point in the next couple of laps. They don't have to worry about fuel this race, but they will have to worry about it next race. How many of these guys you think are like testing the waters to see if they can find a way to make it to the end, or is it really going to be that short where there's no way out of it?
I mean, here's the thing. It's going to be 3 laps short on fuel, but, I mean, 3 laps in maybe an Indy car, I could maybe save that, but in a truck where, I mean, on that entire back straightaway, you're effectively on the rev limiter. I don't think that's possible. I think you're going to have to start planning when you're going to come in and how much fuel you're really going to take.
And this isn't a particularly long track for these guys either. It's one of the shorter road courses in North America. However, in these trucks, they do run a considerably long lap, given the fact that the track isn't that long. In the Indy cars and the DPIs, LMP2s, you can run pretty close to a minute lap time around this track, but obviously in these trucks, getting nowhere close to that, as a minute 34.2 is the fastest time so far, as everyone's gotten spread out. And I gotta feel bad for Kegman and Paris. It's more Paris than Kegman, because Paris just got caught up by Gleason's blown engine at the beginning of the race and never really got going, and he's just trying to recover as best he can right now.
Yeah, that was more or less one of those unfortunate situations that you don't really have very much control over. But it's just the nice recovery here. I mean, just pretty much accepting, like, yes, it wasn't that favorable, and yes, it's only the B main race, but, you know, hey, at least let's go fight back, see what we can get.
Bob Giaquinto has had even worse luck. He started towards the front and is actually coming down pit road. So interesting news on the 23 camp. I don't know what this is for. I don't think it's for fuel.
I think Giaquinto actually suffered just a little bit of damage on that run.
It's a shame for him to put pulling it in at this stage of the race. That will undoubtedly take his efforts out of contention for a good points finish in the B main, as he has straight up gone through the pit road. I think he missed his box. So
It actually looks like Vinny may have had a few issues here. He dropped back behind Tellier.
interesting. So Valvano's having issues now. You think that these trucks being on the limiter down Andretti is causing these drivers to have some interesting engine problems?
Garrett Gleason did comment that he found the limit of how much revving the engine could take. So that is, I guess, some bit of information he will take forward into next heat.
Yeah, these standing starts are brutal on guys that aren't used to them, and that's the reason why they don't see them in IndyCar, because the clutch on an IndyCar is so finicky that we saw more cars blowing up at the start of races than we did seeing actually advance.
I mean,
And I don't think
when you get these
trucks-
engines off of Craigslist, I mean, they can only handle so much.
I mean, you know, they're cheap. You can certainly tear them up and get some good results out of them. I use one as a refrigerator.
How does that work?
It powers the fridge. It's about all it can do, really. It's a giant generator. Snowstorm comes through, bam, you've got yourself some power.
Yeah, and you've got like about 5 gallons less of fuel.
Hey, you know. Yeah, don't these take diesel? I thought they took diesel.
I didn't know your refrigerator needed glow plugs. But as we see here, Mike Tellier is starting to track down Bill Edwards just a little bit. But Bill still has a pretty nice gap in between the two. About a good 0.7 gap between second, third, and fourth. And looks like Josh Edmondson, he's starting to close down that split just a little bit, but not as much.
No, not at all. He's very far back on the racetrack right now as opposed to Valvano and the like. I wouldn't imagine that he'll be able to catch up to these guys in the time allotted, so I would assume that that's day done. Because going down the Andretti right now, you can't quite see them from the onboard. They're there, they're just over the hill, so kind of discouraging when you can't see the guy that you're trying to run down. But nevertheless, is staying in front of Kegman and Paris, so it's the two drivers that he was more focused on right now. Tristan Maher is just kind of loving life right now up in front, but Maher, right? Sorry, I keep saying it and I keep thinking of the musician John Mayer, and I'm like,
I thought you were talking about Sam Mayer.
No, not even.
Like, no,
close. Not even. But still running around is Maher. He's been able to keep the lead, although Edwards is starting to close the gap ever so slightly. But with 2 laps to go, I don't think that he'll be able to catch him. Tellier has fallen back from Edwards, and Valvano's fallen back from Tellier, and Edmondson is nowhere to be found. So if nothing changes, this might be our top 5.
You got to think, right now, these kind of guys are a little bit spread out, and that's what I expect to see in this main A race. But my whole thing is, when pit stops happen, the difference in strategies, how long they take, or when they decide to come down the pit road, that is really going to affect a lot of his strategy. And again, you're taken out of your rhythm for those about maybe 30 seconds it takes to fill up these cars. You got to kind of file that in the back of your head that it will change how you race.
And they're also going to have to be pretty vigilant on making sure that tire change is unchecked when they want to go down onto pit road, because that could ruin your entire race. You'll definitely go a lap down if you have to change tires on these. So have to make sure that you got that unchecked. And if they're 3 laps short, they will be able to get close to the end of the race. But for it being a 15-lap event, it's definitely going to be a bit of a mind game of when do you split the race in half? Do you go all the way to the end of your fuel tank before you do it? There's a lot of variables. We'll have to find out what happens as through turn 10. 1 more lap to go for Maher and Edwards and the rest. And if nothing changes, this is our finishing order. But I shouldn't say that because, well, Matt, Seth, and I have all been on broadcasts where we say something and then, well, those drivers don't finish the race.
I've been in the receiving end of one of those last lap deals.
I know, I've seen it.
That's anything can happen.
It's unfortunate when you when the commentator's curse is so potent that even thinking about a driver doing well sends them out into the outside barrier.
It's unfortunate when your car loses the will to stay in the lead.
My heart, my soul.
But it looks like Bill Edwards maybe giving a little bit of a challenge to Maher now. He is tracking him down just a little bit, but not enough to really be in that notable kind of danger zone.
Not quite. Oh, there was a bobble, though, from Maher.
That may have opened the door just a little bit, because it looks like Bill Edwards is keeping it a little bit more tame. Maher is just sliding it through some of these corners.
I tell you, if Edwards gets a run down,
and he's going to have the draft here.
Oh, he might be on the limiter, though, going down Andretti. They're both running the same speed, although now Edwards a tick faster. How brave is he in the S's? Can he hold it down? Can he get on the brakes later? He's right there. He might send it up the inside of turn 10 if he gets close enough.
Boy, we're in no-lift territory. I mean, send it. You got that last corner. You got turn 10. You can hit him.
I think he lost some ground going into turn 9.
Come on, full send. No.
Through the final turn. Nah, he's too far back. Couldn't quite get there. Tristan Maher is going to take the B main of tonight's event. Bill Edwards will finish second place, and Mike Tellier will snipe a third place after having some misfortune at the start. And poor Garrett Gleason will finish in last place due to his blown engine at the start. Valvano and Edmondson, after being held up by the aforementioned Gleason, will be in fifth place. So that's some valuable points from Maher. He didn't favor
I don't know why he's burning out. You're
well.
not done yet.
Oh no, he's still
going.
going.
You got another event to win.
Yeah, he's still going. You're not done yet. Although these are valuable points, we still have quite a bunch more racing still to come in this one, as we're still waiting for Giaquinto to finish the race, as he's just
having
now
a rough day. He's having a rough day.
Coming through sector 3 now. Final turn is Giaquinto, and
Listen,
he will.
Not all tracks are everyone's cup of tea.
No, certainly not. And this one's, albeit one of the more forgiving ones.
Most sport, you say it's forgiving. I've had very different experiences with most sport.
I mean, if you're in a high grip car, it's a bit more forgiving. It's thin. If you're comparing it to Laguna Seca,
turned an Indy car into an airplane. I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, upside down.
That thing snapped. That thing snaps and murders you.
Well, I come from a very different world. I don't know why I keep comparing things to IndyCar. I drive GT3s. I don't know.
Last time I checked, this Pro Truck wasn't an F1 car.
No, it is not. No, it is not.
Maybe a Lotus F1 car, to be honest. But
Lotus circa
Caterham.
2000.
Caterham.
Oh. You remember Mauritia?
Oh, Marussia. Oh. Marussia was... But we're currently in our little warm-up session. We got about 5 minutes till drivers go ahead and we get kicked onto the main heat. So this really just gives the drivers any chance if they want to kind of shake down any last bit of their car or use any bit that they learned there just to get back in practice. So this will be really helpful for Josh Edmondson and Connor Parse, just because they will be able to run together and they can kind of see how the car is going to act. But going back to that, yeah, Marussia was a nightmare. The HRT was always slow. Let's be honest.
I forgot HRT was a team, actually.
Well, HRT became Virgin, and then they became, it was HRT, Virgin, and...
Didn't HRT and Virgin race at the same time in 2010, though?
Was Virgin another team?
Yeah, Virgin turned into Marussia.
Oh, Marussia. Oh. All right, yeah, because Marussia was a automotive company. All right, so it was Virgin something. I thought it was originally... Was it Campos?
I can't remember.
That's that I can't remember off the top of my head.
I do know that Timo Glock raced for...
Who hasn't Timo Glock raced for?
That is true. I think the man has a win at Le Mans and Daytona. I cannot confirm that. I think he does. I know he's raced them, at least. Certainly has raced at the Nordschleife.
All right, just looking at here. Virgin Racing was Marussia Virgin Racing. So that was the Marussia F... Hang on a sec.
Didn't that, by way kind of turn into what Haas is now?
Yes. Haas bought out Marussia.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, so it was Virgin Racing in 2010, and then it was Marussia Virgin Racing when Marussia joined on as the automotive. Okay. And then Virgin, realizing that they were on literally one of the worst F1 teams known to man, when they decided to ollie on out, well, they were emboldened because of the Braun. They sponsored the Braun in 2009. And obviously that gave them kind of the, I would say maybe the confidence to fully go into F1. Although I think you missed your mark by about a year.
Yeah, well, it worked out for Braun, though, because Braun became what is now known as Mercedes.
Actually, wait, no. Marussia became Manor.
Oh, right,
Marussia became Manor, which is MRT, surprisingly.
Right.
MRT, known as worse than HRT. And then Manor got bought out, I thought, by Haas, but I could be wrong.
Manor, I do know that Manor now, at least they were, raced LMP2s in the World Endurance Championship and European Le Mans Series. I don't know if they still do, or if they became another team within those two. But Yeah, that is what I know they raced at Le Mans, and yeah, funny enough, I think HRT is also in some way raced at. Oh, and that's WRT.
Well, do you know the funny thing about Lotus? So Lotus before, like the Lotus that ended up buying out Renault at that time. So you know how they ended up hiring Kimi Räikkönen?
Right.
I think I've told you this story before, but they ended up hiring Kimi Räikkönen, and they were giving him a bonus. I think it was like $200 or like $25,000 or something per point earned, because they didn't think they'd actually, like, that was a bonus on top of his base salary, because they didn't think he would actually, you know, gain that many points because it was a Lotus. I mean, let's be honest. But obviously in 2014 they went on a tear. They got the jump on a lot of teams. 2012,
2013, and 2014 they had some pretty good
I
seasons.
think he ended up racking up like 260 points in total. And at the end of the day, I think they owed him about $25 million on top of bonuses. I got to look up the exact number. But all I know is he actually was one of the reasons that that Lotus bankrupted itself. Like the actual race team bankrupted itself because they couldn't pay Kimi. Kimi was listed as one of the debtors, or one of the creditors.
They couldn't pay Kimi.
They couldn't pay Kimi's bonuses, and it was a contractual agreement.
That's a sad way to have your team fooled.
But now that we have the history session out of the way.
Yeah, now that we've gone through Formula One history, we're about ready to jump back into our A main for tonight. It's going to be the same deal. Field will be inverted. That means Gleason will start on pole yet again as Jason
He's gonna be a little bit more careful this time.
Oh, we have Maher pulling out.
I believe Maher made a mistake. Maher went when he wasn't supposed to go, so he's going to have to be subject to a drive-through penalty, to my knowledge, unless admins are going to clear it and allow him to go on.
We are underway now. He might be able to just go to the back of the pack, and I think is that what they're doing as Gleason goes off the track in turn one. He didn't blow the engine this time, but he certainly has had a bit of an issue.
And Giaquinto now leads the field in the one as he into that big left-hander as he overdrives the corner. Now Donahue takes the lead, but he's got both Connor and Josh on his bumper.
As Donahue tries to keep the lead. Oh, then Giaquinto gets up on the rumble strip. Here comes Edmondson around the outside to try to make the pass on the 23. Can he get the power down? Oh, he might, but battle for the lead between Paris and Edmondson. Can he make it through? Around the outside, he might be trying to set up for the inside up into turn 5. I don't think he has the momentum, but he might be trying to set up for a run down the straight as Donahue gets up and almost flips.
And man, Connor is just right on his bumper, not really giving him any room to breathe, and you can hear it in the throttle too.
Trying to hold it down, trying to get in and out of the throttle, keep the momentum. Now side by side going down, and Andretti what can happen? I wouldn't put it past Edmondson to maybe take this 3 wide going into turn 8. He's right there. He might try it. He's pushing Paris down the straightaway. Here he goes. I tried
on him just a little bit.
Yeah, he pushes Donahue out of the way, exaggerating his dominance through the turn, and now he's getting his sights on Paris.
Aye. And really, let's go ahead and kind of reiterate that whole fact of they need the pit, and they will be 3 laps short of the completion of this race, so probably around, I'd say maybe 13, 14 is the max window that anyone can really go. I'd really say more ideally it's lap 12 is your max, but by some way, if they manage to save just enough fuel to go that extra lap or two, that could be the difference.
The way that these two out front are battling, I don't know if saving fuel is even a question. I think they just have to battle the way
They're
are.
Teammates, by the way. They're teammates.
They are, yeah. You don't want to. And this is big news between the two of them. If they end up making contact at some point, we could see some extreme team discipline later in the night. It'll be an awkward team dinner.
That's I've had those disagreements with teammates before. That was usually, why are you in my way? Why are you so slow?
Oh.
It looks like a little bit of stack up there in the back with Bill Edwards and Donahue. Donahue's really making life difficult to pass him, but it looks like Mike Tellier might be trying to go with Bill Edwards to see if he can maybe team up around him.
He's trying to park the bus going down the straightaway. Edwards pulls along to the outside. Tellier's gonna push. Oh, this is close quarter racing. There's a bump from Tellier pushing him into turn 8. Who's got the momentum? Oh, they touch. They touch.
Bumped a little bit. That
Not
opens
too
the
much.
door for Tellier. Man, everyone's cutting that little corner there.
Through turn 10.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh, Tellier up the inside. Oh, he's right on the limit, and he spins.
Oh. Oh, Kegman.
Oh, and he's hit Kegman, and he spins on the front straightaway.
I don't know if that's a Hello Kitty hello or maybe a goodbye.
Just a little love tap. That's all that was.
But that really now puts Bill Edwards in control of that 4th place. He is going to be still trying to get past Donahue, but look who's slowly working his way up back again. Tristan Maher. He's slowly clawing his way back up.
Oh, yeah, he's trying to get everything that he can. Try and get around. Right now, as they run right now, it's pretty much the way we saw in the B main, is everyone's just trying to figure out where they slot in, and they're getting spread out.
I think he's going to get him here in this corner.
Oh, he might give a little bit of contact on the way in. He sends it. Oh, he sends it. Oh, there he is. He's trying to get it.
He's being polite. He lifted.
It's still early on, only on lap 3 of 15.
It's still early on, but I'm seeing a about 2.5 second gap between you and the leader. And I keep seeing that grow every moment. When you know you're faster and you're using up those tires a little bit, you got to get by him.
Especially because you could potentially run down the leaders with the amount of time that you have if you can get around somebody that you think is slower than you. And right now, here comes Maher to the outside, or Maher to the outside, trying to make it work. Whoa, cuts to the inside. Rams his truck through, makes a little bit of contact, and sails on by for 4th.
I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, you want to pass everyone clean, and you don't want to kind of bounce them out of the way. But, I mean, listen, you see the laps counting down, you see those guys in front start getting a little bit further out. I mean, you got to go.
Oh, he's going to take the momentum down the front straightaway. He's going to try to get by Donahue going to turn 1. Round the inside. He cuts down in against the pit wall, trying to carry the momentum, and I think he's going to have it going into turn 2. Can he make it work around the outside? He doesn't want to go off track. If he dips off the racing surface, he's going to lose some momentum, and he stays there. He's falling back into 4th, but that's a fast track. He's going to try to set it the inside of 3.
Yeah, I think he's going to use them as I'm kind of surprised they're keeping it so clean between them. I'm kind of surprised that Maher hasn't used them as a little bit of a springboard to try and get by him.
He almost did. I think there was a little tiny contact coming off that car, but he was able to get through now into 3rd place, and he can set his sights on to the 2 teammates out in front of Edmondson and Paris. Now, Edmondson was, again, the winner the last time out. Again, he won all of the events that he participated in.
Donahue. Donahue's getting hounded by Bill now.
Donahue, there's something wrong with this 81. I think they might have used up some of his stuff trying to hold up the guys behind him, and now is just or he might be going into fuel conservation mode. He might be one of those drivers that's thinking that he can make it all the way to the end of the race, but that might not work, especially if it's so short on gas and the way that you have to run down the back straightaway. I don't see that being a feasible strategy, but maybe.
A few connection issues, but looks like Bill Edwards gets around him. Actually, no, he's still in his right rear.
Or does he send it up the inside? Oh, he's going to pit now.
He's the pit.
Okay, so this is some of the strategy that we were talking about. When do you pit? And if he pits now, he's going to be able to make it to the end of the race. So this is pretty decent strategy on the part of this team to see if they can maybe jump through the field. The undercut might be a bit out of question, but we'll have to see as he tops out with fuel.
Also worth note that it looks like Mike Tellier also has come down pit road. He's going to take some service from his crew. Same thing with, my apologies. That was the, same thing with, my apologies. I got baited twice by my timing screen.
So 2 drivers electing to come down to these drivers, one of them being at the middle of the pack, the other one being at the back. So have to see what happens between the 2 of them. As at the front, it's still relatively close between the 2 leaders, and then Maher has been able to put some daylight between himself and Bill Edwards going through turn 5 down through the Andretti. So everyone's settling out now. This has become a just kind of ride race. It's a traditional road race from here on out. I will note
that when Maher did get past Bill Edwards and Donahue, he had about a 3-second gap from him to the leader. He has shortened that gap down to about 2.3 seconds. Now, he's got a little bit closer gap to Edmondson, but I mean, right now they're nose to tail, and they're kind of benefiting each other here.
They are indeed trying to use each other, as it were, to keep their positions. Ooh, there's a bobble between Paris and Edmondson going down through turn 10, but they managed to make it out. Now, how is it that we see these two trucks out front, the exact same scheme, both of them obviously teammates, knowing that they can pretty much gap themselves to the back of the pack? Do you think that once it's within one lap to go, all the gloves come off and it's time for race mode?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that both Edmondson and Connor are really just kind of thinking in their heads right now. I mean, all right, what am I going to do when I need to pass him? Because right now, I mean, obviously they practice together, they're working together. So when does those gloves come off? Say, all right, I mean, when do I do it? And obviously, when can I do it? But he's not going to get back to me.
I don't think he's got the. I don't think that right now it looks like that Edmondson's losing some ground to Paris. So you think that maybe he's trying to save a little bit of fuel, but he can't save too much with these trucks because again, they don't go very fast. It's not like in a prototype where you can lift going into these turns and save a lot of energy and fuel going into the turns. So you basically have to run the limiter the entire time. So saving's pretty much out of the question, but it is a matter of can you actually do that? And I don't think the answer is yes.
Now, here
Nonetheless,
comes the big question for fuel strategy too, and also tire strategy. Now here's the question: how much has Maher burnt up his tires trying to chase down these top two? And I'm not really worried about wear as much as I am worried about temperature. And here's the thing: they heavily rely, and you see all these guys sliding into these corners on these tires. I mean, these temperatures do build up after a while, and you will notice an effect on grip.
yeah, absolutely. You're going to see some of these guys, such as Maher, even Edwards, who is starting to fall back a little bit. They are noticeably struggling with getting around. And what I have noticed, and you brought up the good point, is the two leaders haven't really been sliding through these turns as much as, say, Maher or Edwards have been. So their tires are probably going to be in a much more workable temperature range than the guys behind them. That being said, if they have any sense, I think that they should start trying to cool down their tires now. And saying that, it's easier said than done when you're on the limit the entire time.
I
But
almost wonder if this is his kind of version of cooling the tires down here.
he might try. They say if you have wet tires on, the thing to do is find where the water is. If these guys have off-road tires on, the thing to do might be to run where the grass is to see if they try to cool down.
That's more or less kind of the difficulty between maybe cooling and speed.
Yeah, you're going to lose a lot of momentum if you try to do that. The back straightaway would be the place to try and do it, but you're going to lose so much
You'd
momentum.
lose so much time with that being the high-speed section.
Not only that, but it's dangerous because if you hit a bump at some point, it can upset the truck and have it actually send towards the wall. So it's a difficult situation when you put these trucks on to asphalt, and what we have now is a great representation of that. Although Maher is starting to close the gap. It was about 2 seconds earlier back to the second place Edmondson. Now it's closing in to about 1.7, 1.8, depending on what part of the track they're on. So,
I will note that Maher did turn the fastest lap, pretty much the fastest lap of any driver last lap, almost getting below a 134 flat, basically.
And he's continued to do it as Paris ran a 134.6, Edmondson a 134.2, make that a 134.4, and Maher a 134.1. So there's a couple tenths in there that he's making up per lap, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see him try to battle up for the lead of the race soon. Now, this was our last season's champion, so he knows how to win, knows how to keep the points lead. He's probably going to try. He knows that he has to do well against Edmondson because Edmondson took a massive points haul away from last week, so now it's playing catch up back to the major lead that Edmondson's accumulated.
Just really looking at our top five here, I mean, they have all really just kind of broken away.
They have indeed. In fact, top four really have, as we got a battle for the lead brewing right now between Paris and Edmondson. They were pushing each other down the back straightaway into turn 8. So
I think they see Maher coming.
They know they have to get on it. I think Edmondson's faster than Paris is, and he's trying to get around, but Paris is saying, no, I want to keep the position. Through turn 10 they go, working on to lap 9 out of 15. Now, when do these guys pit for fuel is the question. Do they pit together to try and keep maintain the advantage, or Do they pit separately to try and see which one of them can gap each other quicker?
That's kind of a dangerous strategy. I mean, here's the thing. You've got two teammates. My usual favorite is trying to split up the strategies where two different teammates will try different things. Or, hey, if one thing doesn't work, I mean, at least the other one will. But kind of in this situation, you're really racing against your teammates. So, if anything, I wouldn't be surprised to see an undercut.
And I don't think there are any major points on the line for these drivers. So, as far as team points go, so nothing really in the wake of needing to have your team as a whole do well. Although it's a huge morale boost if your team as a whole does well. Look at Maher send it into turn 5 on the exit at turn 5. He was almost close enough to make contact with Edmondson, but lost it on the way out. Still running much faster. Actually ran about a similar lap time to the other ones. Now down the Andretti. Edmondson has got to run. Where does he take it to is the question. Does he dip to the inside? Does he try to swing on the outside? Does he make contact? Oh, he got on the brakes a little bit too late. He's going to go out to the outside of the track. He's going to lose some momentum. Maybe trying to arc it in, get the run going into turn 10, but that was definitely late on the brakes for the 58.
Absolutely. Yeah, I kind of wonder when is go time. And again, you got to remember on the back of your head, there is that pit stop coming up. Who's got that in the back of their mind, and what's the plan here?
I think right now, the best driver in the
Looks
best
like
case
Bill
scenario.
Edwards is coming down pit road.
He has. Edwards has made it onto the pit lane to get his fuel taken care of. And I think right now, between the top 3, the guy with the most advantage is going to be the 98. I don't see a scenario where he's going to have anything go wrong. He hasn't had to battle or stay behind somebody. He hasn't tried to outbrake anybody in the last few laps, so his tires have definitely cooled off to the point where he can really work on some laps. He's caught up to Edmondson now, and he's going to get a pretty big tow going down Andretti, so there might be some battling between the two of them before we get into turn 8, although that is if Edmondson doesn't send it up the inside of the racetrack on his teammate going on turn 5. Who's got the run?
Josh sees Tristan coming, and he knows he has to go here at the moment.
He absolutely does. He's no way that he can stay behind his teammate. Although, Reese has been able to get out in front. Now, I don't think that Maher's truck is faster in a straight line because you can see the run that Edmondson got as opposed to Maher going down the back straightaway. I don't think that 98 is as fast in a straight line, although he sails it in. He's definitely fast in the corners, though. He makes up a lot of ground that he loses in the end corner entry, but he loses a lot of it on corner exit. Speaking of, here he comes. He's going to pit now.
And here's the thing. He really has to kind of keep that advantage as much as possible. He slides it in. He made pit road speed, I believe.
I think he did. Just made pit road speed as now the two leaders continue to turn circuits around the track. Does anybody behind him pit? Valvano hasn't. Kagman is not going to pit either. So they're both going to stay out. Tristan Maher getting his fuel is going to lose 2 positions, but will undoubtedly get them back later on. He's spending quite a long time on the pit lane. He's now got out. Was that comparable to what we saw Tellier do earlier? Yes, it was. Actually, Tellier, that was a bit of a longer stop. Tellier was able to have a 27, or make that a 7.3 second stop, and Maher was about a 10 second, a 9.9. So there was definitely some time lost in that exchange. Not enough to lose a position to any of these guys, but you got to think.
We have to wait and see about both the 11 and the 58's pit stop. I think that 9.9 is just a little bit too long. Maybe he didn't adjust the gas in the car.
Gleason ran a 9.3. But yeah, there's a huge range right now because Edwards had a 5-second stop flat. So there are definitely some strategies being thrown out as there's a battle for the lead. Now Edmondson thought about having a look to the left. Tries to cut it in. He's gone out wide again, trying to arc it in to get the run. Does he have the momentum? For the minute, he does. Can he get to the back end of the truck? I don't think he quite can. Does any of them pit? Yes, they do. Both of them do at the same time. So Paris and Edmondson, both the leaders come down pit road. This is crucial. Who gets out first?
Gotta be wondering what the strategy is here because now we're waiting to see who really takes the lead and who wins the battle off pit road.
This is going to be close for the both of them as they both pull into their stalls. They are right next to each other, both of them getting fuel only. No need to repair your tires. At the 38 of Valvano is going to temporarily take the lead. He hasn't pitted yet. but Valvano will take the lead. Paris and Edmondson are down and away. Here comes Maher. Maher might be able to stay right with them. He's actually lost quite a bit of time to him.
I mean, just look at the difference in the pit stops. I mean, again, 8 seconds, 7.8 seconds. Maher's 10 seconds. That really slowed him down.
That really did bite into his
I'd
overall
say that
lap
easily
time.
could have lost him the race.
It could have. There's still a little bit of time. You might be able to make up some ground, but only time will tell. Tell you what, though, Paris has opened up the gap back to his teammate because now he's running about, make that a second back to his teammate. Valvano is still yet to pit. He will be pitting very shortly, running in the lead at the moment. We were wondering how Tellier would have fared. Tellier's had some major problems throughout the night because right now he's only running in 8th place. He hasn't been able to make up any ground on any of the guys in front of him, and he is having a rough time getting power down on the track. So might be thinking that these cars a bit too much power than he's used to. But it's interesting though because Tellier's done well in this discipline before, so it's really interesting.
I think
to see
it's really
him
just
struggling.
new tracks. Again, this is not a track that we've had on previous seasons, and again, it requires a little bit different discipline because again, we've raced this track before, but again, we've raced this track before in again Camping World Truck Series trucks, and we've raced on it in IndyCar. We just haven't raced that. And you see Vincent Valvano come down pit road now, so that puts Connor back in the lead with Josh Edmondson chasing, and Tristan Maher is really now back at a deficit, trying to claw back 3 seconds.
I don't know if he's got enough time to do it as we're on 13 out of 15 laps. Time winding down for these drivers as we only have about, once they get back to the line, they'll have about 3 minutes and change before the end of the race. So for Paris, all you have to do is run cleanly, don't lock up the tires, and you can pretty much cruise to a win. For Edmondson, he's got to figure out a way to close the gap up 1.5 seconds to his teammate. And for Tristan Maher, it's even further back at a 3.5 second deficit to the leader and another 2 seconds to the second place car. So not enough time, I don't think, for any of them to really change their position. So we'll have to see if they can not have a mishap on the way run to the line.
Right now, it's just a big question if either Maher can catch Edmondson or Edmondson can catch Connor and try to see if he can battle him.
And if he does, if he can catch up a little bit, we might see some action late in the run. But if he doesn't, then it's going to be a little bit of an issue if he can catch but not pass. And once you get into that situation, you might see him make some dive bombs, which is what the fans want to see. They want to see some dive bomb action, but you definitely don't. If you're Edmondson, you don't want to be torpedoed by a red truck behind you, and that might be the case if he gets close enough.
I mean, if you don't want to get torpedoed by the truck, you shouldn't let him get so close.
that is a very fair point.
That's
2 laps to go.
Whoever calls Kvyat the torpedo, we shouldn't let him get that close.
What is he doing? What is he doing? I don't know. I don't know what he's doing. Famous Kimi Räikkönen quotes.
Gonna miss him.
Yeah, seriously gonna miss him. But yeah, interestingly enough, right now we're seeing a pretty good teammate display, and it's kind of reminding me of some of the teams in Formula One, how they get a pretty big lead and they stick out in front. So right now it's looking like a couple of pair. Now when Renault was racing, this is about the closest to the color scheme we have. I don't think they were this dominant except for like in the 2000s, but haven't seen that since then.
I don't recall Renault having red stripes on the side of her car.
Had orange stripes at one point.
I thought it was blue off of Mild 7, I thought.
Oh, well, yeah, that's back in the
06,
early
like
2000s.
07.
Oh, no, those were yellow.
Oh, was it yellow? Oh,
Yeah.
I stand corrected.
Well, yellow and blue, yes. And then in 2009, they had ING as their main sponsor, and they had a yellow and red livery.
So realistically, kind of looking at the, I guess maybe championship implications of this, as you see the white flag gets displayed by Barney, it's gonna be, looks like Edmondson is within a second striking distance. If he really hounds it and pulls off the best lap that we have seen today, he will have a shot to get there.
Yeah, he might if he can pull out a banger qualifying lap and be able to catch up. But even if he doesn't, this is going to be a fantastic points day for Edmondson. He finished, I believe he got top 5 in the B main, so he'll be able to get that. I wonder what would have happened if he hadn't gotten held up by Gleason at the beginning of the run, but he got held up. A lot of drivers, in fact, got held up by Gleason at the beginning
the
of
key
the
is
B
here,
main.
Connor will really only come away with about 35 points here. Josh, on the other hand, he'll come away with about 26 points, even with the second place finish. And off of last week, Connor wasn't here last week. So really, I'd say Josh is going to have about maybe 10, 20, 30 point lead even, with William Edwards and it looks like Dave and Tony tied for 4th. So really, he can run away with this.
Point standings are basically the finishing order from the last week out. But tonight, it's been all Connor Parise at the front of the field since the beginning of the A main. He's going to round the final turn. Nobody to challenge him. Sails it through. Tries to drift through the final turn, and he will. Connor Parise is going to win at Motorsports, and his teammate Edmondson finishes second. But a masterclass of a drive from Connor Parise as he drifts around the first turn, a la FD style, and now that could add to his overall points championship hopes as he's about a race behind everybody else. But still, fantastic run. And Josh Edmondson, again, the points lead gets extended because second place in the points, Bill Edwards will finish 4th, and Tristan Maher will finish 3rd. So he'll jump up from 4th place, most likely trying to get into either 3rd or 2nd in the standings by the end of it.
To be honest, I'm wondering when we're going to have a Formula Drift competition here in iRacing.
Yeah, it's looking the way that they're doing it. Yeah,
both Josh and Connor, they're just putting on a clinic out here.
I think we mentioned it the last time out that a lot of these drivers were good at drifts around the track using their victory lap. And
I mean, honestly, we put the gear ratio just low enough. I think we may be able to get enough wheel spin.
The way that they're doing it now, it's kind of making me a little jealous. I never was able to drift as well as these guys are.
It takes a lot of trial and error, a lot of money too.
Yeah.
A lot of wrecked cars.
Cheap cars, big engines. That's what you need to do is drift.
Not everyone can have a disposable income of Mazda Miatas.
No, but Miatas are cheaper than you think they are.
You'd be surprised. You have definitely not looked at Facebook Marketplace.
Have you? Or at least around here, they're really cheap. Like I found one that was, albeit a bit of a newer one, but it was.
Man, look at that!
That's incredible. Now seriously, this is incredible. This is fantastic. The victory lap around, a full victory lap around, Formula Drift style for these guys, and Parise still gets to the line first.
We gotta get a Formula Drift competition going for this crowd.
They need to have bonus points for that at the end of the race, I'm telling you, dude. That's incredible. 5 bonus points to everybody who took part in that. Fantastic run. Your top 5 is going to be Connor Parise, Josh Edmondson, Tristan Maher, Bill Edwards, and James Donahue will finish in 5th place. So, good run for him as well. As everyone took to Motorsport, and some drivers fared better than others. A lot of drivers were just trying to figure out how to drive the track with these trucks. As a lot of them, this might have been their first time on this track, let alone with these discipline.
And got to think, some of the drivers who have been on this track before, that's not even really an advantage. That could also be considered as a really big disadvantage, just because you remember your braking points, you remember where to turn in on the other vehicles on the surface. But now we're going to a vehicle where downforce is really just a silly myth. Power is inconsistent, and steering is honestly just kind of pointed in the direction you want it to go, and it may go where you want it to. So that's really kind of harmful, and I think that really kind of hurt people like Mike Tellier and Stephen Kegman, where, like, listen, they probably had experience in other vehicles, other disciplines here, where just unfortunately not in this class. They were not used to this car.
No, not at all. But they did manage well for what it was, and the racing action was incredible throughout the 2 heats. And then we got into the mains. We got to see who the masters of the track was. Fantastic runs from everybody out. And I gotta say that If you're anybody who was in the top 5 tonight, this is good information to take to some of the other tracks on the schedule, specifically when we head out to the Iowa road course. That one is about as close to this track as we're going to get, as Detroit is a street circuit and the Charlotte road course is basically Daytona but smaller. So this track will play dividends for those drivers trying to learn how to drive onto the Iowa road course, which that one will be the penultimate race, October 26th. So you want to set your calendars for that race, and then the season finale being on November 2nd for these drivers will crown us a champion. I'm looking through here, and I do see our second place finisher, and I see our winner. I do not see Tristan Maher. I do see Tristan Maher. So we have all three of our drivers.
I saw him, and I just opened this up.
Yeah, I see Tristan Maher. So we got all three of our drivers. We'll give them a second before they jump in the booth to kind of wind down after this one. But what are some of the takeaways that we've seen tonight, Matt? We've seen some pretty sailed moves up, and we never really saw anybody try to dive it into turn 10 except for one of the heat races. I don't think anyone ever got close.
My takeaway is, I think, honestly, we put a big wing on the back of this car. We may be able to make this into a GT car.
Yeah, seriously, the power's there.
I mean, the lack thereof is there. I mean, honestly, add a little bit more downforce. We got the complete package here.
Change the gearing ratio up a little bit. These trucks are powerful. Lower the suspension. Yeah, this was a fantastic race from all the parties involved. We're going to get their word from this race. We're going to go down to the track side. We're going to get our third place finisher, Tristan Maher. Hey, Tristan, it's Anthony and Matt up in the FRN booth. You got us?
I got you guys.
Well, that was a pretty cool race. From up here, we got to see some pretty close action, and seeing these trucks on asphalt at Motorsport was entertaining for the Motorsport fans for sure. How was it from your end? Because we saw that the truck it looked like it was pretty planted if you could get the power down easily.
Yeah, I mean, that's the trick. I mean, these trucks are so much fun on asphalt. They're easy to drive on asphalt, but they're hard to be fast. One of the worst things you can do in these trucks when you're racing around tracks like this is kick it sideways. Normally what you do on dirt, but if you kick it sideways on these tracks, it cuts a lot of speed down. They're super fun to drive. I love racing these trucks on asphalt tracks.
So Tristan, I gotta bring it up. We were watching pit stops there, and you had a 10-second pit stop versus first and second places 8 seconds and 7.8 seconds respectively. What happened?
So I think I screwed myself. I didn't know exactly how much fuel I needed, and I know I pitted a little bit earlier, so I didn't want to underfuel. So I took a little bit too much fuel, and that's where those 2 seconds came from, because those guys only took 5 gallons and I took 7. So I took a little bit too much fuel, and on top of that, those guys had the draft the whole race. They were right next to each other. So even on my outlap, I didn't have any draft or anything like that, and those guys did. So I lost a lot of time on there.
Now, this is a pretty big points day for you because you finished 4th place in the A main last time out, and you favored well in the B and the heat races from the last time out. You did the same thing here, albeit the start of the B main was a bit chaotic for these drivers, but
Yeah.
with Gleason blowing his engine at the beginning of the B main. But despite the scatter, you ended up getting some pretty big points hauls today. So going into the next one out at Bristol, how are you feeling, and how's the morale at the team as a whole, and how are you approaching Bristol?
I'm just gonna put some laps in. Bristol's gonna be a good time. I love racing with these guys. Any track we go to is a good time with these guys. Just got to put some practice in, and hopefully I can do the same thing next week.
Congratulations on your 3rd place finish tonight. You again, a big points haul. But before we let you go, we'll give the floor over to you for some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
Yeah, I got to thank you guys for broadcasting this race. FRN, you guys are good people. TNR, Garrett Gleason, Mike Tellier, the guys that put this league on. You don't find too many of these leagues with the stadium super trucks, so it's cool. It's unique. I encourage everybody to join the Discord and try it out.
That is Tristan Maher. He finishes third place tonight. Again, congratulations. We hope to see you next week, and enjoy the rest of your night.
Thank you, guys. You too.
And now we'll get our second place finisher into our booth, Josh Edmondson. And Josh, it's Anthony and Matt up in the FRN booth. You got us?
Yeah.
Well, we saw some pretty close action between you and Connor at the up until the pit stops happened, and after that, it kind of got spread out. But there was some pretty close battling on the racetrack. How did these trucks feel throughout the night, and what were kind of the trouble spots for these trucks, and what were the disadvantages for these trucks?
They're tough on the asphalt. It's all about not spinning the tire too much. You can definitely wear the tires out. I think that was part of why I couldn't quite hang with Connor after the pit stop there. I got a little too hot into a couple corners and kind of burn up the tires. You can see the smoke come off. I also got into the dirt a couple times, so just little mistakes. All these guys are really fast, so little mistakes is all it takes to get a little gap, and then it's tough to do anything about it. So overall I'm happy though. I mean, that was a good race for me for second. I think definitely Tristan or whoever that was in third was a lot faster. He was catching us, and then pit, so tried to do the undercut. So we pit the next lap and managed to keep that gap, so that helped.
So, Josh, I'm going to have to play devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
Did you think you could have taken less than 5 gallons or less fuel than what you took?
Well, yes. I thought about it. I looked at the fuel left. I had like a few gallons left, and it said I could do 4 laps. And we only had a few laps left, and I just went with the 5 because I'd already set that when I was going down the backstretch a couple laps in, and I'm in VR, so it was kind of hard to click through the relative or the black box and change it. So I just left it, stuck with it. But yeah, I had too much. I had like 3 gallons left at the end, so I could have taken 2 gallons and maybe even jumped Connor on the stop there.
You still had an extremely fast truck all night long. The B main bobble was a bit interesting. I want to actually ask you 2 questions. First, the B main having the Garrett Gleason blow his engine at the beginning of it, that kind of set you back, but
Yeah.
You were able to manage and finish inside the top 5, which was an impressive drive on your part. And then heading into Bristol, you've still got a pretty big points haul from tonight's race. You're going to come out of this race as the points leader. So what's the overall goal for going into Bristol and going forward through the rest of the season?
Yeah, goal's just to keep that momentum rolling. It's always good to gain points, and I'm not sure if I did overall with Tristan there because I think he won that B main, so not sure what the overall tonight was, but yeah, being the points leader is good. That's the goal here. Hopefully I can keep that rolling.
Again, Josh Edmondson finished second place in the A main tonight and top 5 in the B main, and did pretty well in his heat races as well. Congratulations on your second place in the A. And before we let you go, we're going to let you do some thank you sponsors and shout outs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Shout out to you guys for doing the broadcast. Stoked to go back and watch this, and it's always cool to be able to dissect what happened from a different perspective. So stoked to do that. And then shout out to the team, Jim Beaver Esports, Fistful of Bourbon, Winners Get Whiskey. Congrats, Connor, there. And then General Tire, Polaris Razor, Dirtfish, Vision Wheels, GSP, XTV Axles, Acronis, and everybody else. Thanks.
Again, Josh Edmondson, second place tonight. Congratulations. We hope to see you next week. Have a great rest of your night. And that will lead us to our race winner, which will be Connor Parise. Got out in front and basically never looked back. Didn't start in the front of the field for the A main, but the winner nonetheless will get his side of what happened. Connor, it's Anthony and Matt up in the FRN booth. You got us?
Yes, sir.
Well, you did pretty well tonight. Big points haul in the A main. You had a bit of a bobble in the B main after the 7 up at the front blew his engine, but still managed to recover on that one. Overall tonight, how do you think the run went, and how did your truck feel at this beautiful circuit?
The Pro 2s on the asphalt road courses are one of my favorite combos. I'll even go and say that they're the best road car and I'm gonna get a lot of flack for that. No, it's fun. Always a blast to drive these. The draft's crazy and a nice long backstretch. Made it interesting with people be able to keep up and get runs and stuff. So it was great.
All right, Connor, I'll play devil's advocate a little bit here. So let's go ahead and think if Maher didn't jump the initial start, do you think he would have been closer? Do you think it would have been kind of a little bit dicey there for the lead, or do you think it would have been easier?
So he got a penalty in the LCQ for donuts. The sim gave him a black flag, so it put him to the front. So he did that on purpose to, because he was supposed to start last because he won on track. So he did that to start last. It's too bad, me and Josh had our issues in the LCQ. I think it would have been fun to, fight with those guys through the LCQ, and then again, closer to the tail of the field in the final to come through the field.
Now, in the A main, at least, you were able to get out in front and basically never look back. You were able to cut your way through all the cars. Now, Josh behind you was hounding the back end of your car quite a bit. There was some great racing between the two of you, and I just want to know, how was it from your perspective, knowing that there was a very fast truck behind you? How did you manage keeping your truck as wide as possible going down the straightaway, especially because there was a couple times that he looked like he was going to lunge it up the inside of turn 8, but backed out of it at the last minute? So we'll go through your mind and see what a driver's perspective on that was.
Honestly, I was comfortable. I know Josh is very fast. He's also very smart and very fair. And we were working together to kind of, link up and tandem draft as much as we could. It worked out for us. We probably could have stayed out after Tristan did his pit. We were a little nervous about the undercut. But with that draft, us linked up, I think we had a fair bit of advantage over the single car teams.
Well, once again, Connor, congratulations on your victory in the A main, and congratulations on your success throughout the rest of the night. The B main, a bit of a chaotic one, but you managed to come back in that one and get some points out of it, and obviously did well in the heats as well. So again, congratulations on those. Before we let you go, though, we're going to let you have the floor for any thank you sponsors and shout outs.
First, got to thank you guys and the crew putting on the show. I didn't even know about this league until like an hour before this kicked off tonight. So thanks for adding me and the broadcast. I'm sure it's going to look great. Can't wait to watch it. And a big shout out to the whole Jim Beaver Esports team. We got fistful of bourbon on these fast trucks. Winners get whiskey, so I'm going to go crack one open right now. We also have Dirtfish Rally School, Polaris Razor, Vision Wheel, and the Down and Dirty Radio Show.
Well, that is now I want to make sure I get this right. How do you pronounce your last name?
It's Parisi, but no one ever gets it right. Don't worry about it.
'Cause I was just saying Paris the entire night, but I was hoping I was close enough. But once again, congratulations to Connor Parisi for taking the victory in the A main, and a pretty big points haul for the rest of the time. Go enjoy your whiskey, and hope to see you again some other time.
Thanks, fellas.
So, Matt, we have had a pretty successful night tonight of racing here at the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park, or known more wholeheartedly as Motorsports. So, we've already gone through our takeaways, but what are you thinking about the next race? We have the Bristol Oval, and it's going to be another road race. So, have to see what these trucks can do on the high banks of the half mile.
I'm just trying to figure out who's really going to try that forbidden line and try running the fence, like the actual chain link fence.
I'll get up on the fence and try to run it a la Casey Kane 2005.
I think it could work.
It might. We never know. Maybe these drivers will try to run that. Definitely the fastest way around the track if you can get up there. Also, they might try to run and diamond it down the inside of the racetrack. They got the suspension for it. We might see some drivers try to use the apron as well to make up some ground as well. But that's still a week away, and we have quite a bit of racing on FRN still to come. So with that being said, Matt, thanks again for joining me in the booth. It's been a pleasure.
Oh, as always.
And thank you for watching tonight's broadcast of the Stadium Super Trucks here on the Flatout Racing Network. We got plenty of racing still going on the Flatout Racing Network all week long, so stay tuned for some IndyCar action, some GNS action, and the like. And we'll see you on the next broadcast. For Matthew Rodriguez, I'm Anthony McCurry. We'll see you next time. Thank you for watching.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.